Good afternoon. My name is Peter Ohino Emmanuel with the admission number 25110085000045. Program of Study PGDP Public Health, Department Public Health, course code PGDP 724, course title Nutrition in Health and Disease. Study period, first study period, semester level, second semester level. Presentation on my term paper. The topic before me is I'm presenting on the topic biological pathways linking specific dietary component to chronic disease, mechanistic insight informing evidence-based dietary intervention. Abstract. Diet plays a fundamental role in shaping human health through complex biological pathways that regulate metabolism, inflammation, oxidative stress, and cellular signaling. Specific dietary components, particularly saturated fats, refined sugar, and antioxidants, have been extensively studied for their mechanistic contribution to chronic disease such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes mellitus, obesity, and certain cancer. This paper examines the biological pathway through which these dietary components exert their physiological and pathological effects. Drawing on contemporary biomedical evidence, the study demonstrates how understanding these mechanisms informs based dietary interventions such as the Mediterranean diet approach to stop hypertension and plan forward pattern. Introduction. Chronic non-communicable diseases known as SCDs, such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes mellitus, and obesity remain leading cause of global morbidity and immortality, according to World Health Organization 2023. According to World Health Organization, unhealthy diets are among the leading risk factors for global mortality, contributing to approximately 11 million deaths annually. The source is World Health Organization 2023. Accumulating scientific evidence demonstrates that dietary pattern significantly influences the development and progression of these conditions. Saturated fats, biological pathways and disease mechanisms, lipid metabolism, and LDL cholesterol saturated fatty acid, primarily found in animal fat, butter, palm oil, and processed food, influence lipid metabolism by increasing hepatic production of low-density lipoprotein, inflammatory signaling, and toll-like receptor activation. Saturated fats activate toll-like receptor 4, a component of the innate immune system. TLR4 activates trigger nuclear factor kappa-B signaling pathways, increasing the transcription of inflammatory genes. We have evidence-based intervention. Mechanistic insights have informed dietary guidelines recommending replacement of saturated fats with polyunsaturated fats, particularly omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acid, according to American Heart Association, and also clinical trials demonstrate that substituting SFAS with PUFAS reduces LDL-C and CVD risk. Refined sugar, metabolic and inflammatory pathway, glycemic load and insulin resistance. Refined sugar, including sucrose and high fructose corn syrup, are rapidly absorbed, leading to acute hyperglycemia. Chronic high glycemic load increases insulin secretion and promotes insulin resistance via down regulation of insulin receptor signaling pathways. Fructose metabolism and hepatic lipogenesis. Unlike glucose, fructose is metabolized primarily in the liver through pathways that bypass key regulatory steps of glycolysis. Advanced glycation end products. Chronic hyperglycemia leads to formation of advanced glycation end product, which accumulate in tissues and bind to receptor for age rate. Evidence-based intervention. Mechanistic evidence support recommendation limiting sugar to less than 10% of total energy intake, according to World Health Organization. Low glycemic index dietary insulin sensitive and glycemic control in T2DM patients. Oxidative stress, antioxidant protective molecular mechanism, oxidative stress and reactive oxygen species. Reactive oxygen species (ROS) are byproduct of cellular metabolism. Excess of ROS, that is excess of this reactive oxygen species, damages DNA, lipids and protein, contributing to aging and chronic diseases. Endogenic antioxidant system. Dietary antioxidants such as vitamin C and E, polyphenol and carotenoid enhances endogenous antioxidant defense system. Cancer prevention mechanism. Antioxidants reduce oxidative DNA damage and modulate cell cycle regulation. Certain compounds such as resveratrol influences apoptosis and inhibit tumor proliferation pathways. Evidence-based intervention. High intake of antioxidant-rich food is associated to reduced cardiovascular disease and cancer risk. Integration of mechanism into dietary pattern. Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet integrates low saturated fat, minimal refined sugar, and high antioxidant intake. Clinical trials show reduced CVD incidence and improved metabolic biomarkers. DASH diet. The DASH diet reduces hypertension through increased potassium, magnesium, and antioxidant intake while limiting saturated fats and sugar. Plant-based diet. Plant-forward diet reduces exposure to SFAS and refined sugars while increasing fiber antioxidant. Nigerian context, nutrition and transition. The current challenges: shift from tradition to ultra-processed food, rapid urbanization and globalization, dual burden and undernutrition, plus rising non-communicable diseases. What are the consequences? The consequences is that 1, we have overweight, obesity and hypertension. We also have type 2 diabetes prevalent, and we also have emerging cardiovascular disease epidemic. In conclusion, the biological pathways through which saturated fats, refined sugar, and antioxidants influence human health provide critical insight into disease pathogenic and prevention. Then we now have the saturated fats. It promotes dyslipidemia and inflammation via TLR4 and NF-κB signaling. Refined sugar drive insulin resistance, hepatic lipogenesis, and age formation. Antioxidant counteract oxidative stress and modulate gene expression pathway, protective against chronic diseases. Mechanistic evidence has informed evidence-based dietary interventions such as Mediterranean and DASH diet, emphasizing nutrient replacement rather than more restriction. Continued integration molecular research into public health strategies will enhance prevention and management of chronic diseases. Here are the references. Thank you for listening. Yeah.